Tonight, the White House has lowered the American flag, honoring the passing of former President George Herbert Walker Bush. The 41st president died in Houston last night. Hello, Texomans. Thank you for joining us. I'm Nicholas Kwolek. Well, the global community today remembering the life of George H.W. Bush. Mike Emanuel has more.
The world reacting to the passing of former President George H.W. Bush. The 41st president remembered as a noble statesman and a dedicated family man, passing just 7 months after the death of his beloved wife, Barbara. His son, George W. Bush, remembering his dad as a man of the highest character and the best dad a son or daughter could ask for. Son Jeb saying, "I already miss the greatest human being that I will ever know." Leaders from around the world offered their thoughts to the Bush family. President Trump canceled a scheduled news conference at the G20 summit out of respect for the former president.
He was a very fine man. I met him on numerous occasions. He was just a high-quality man who truly loved his family. One thing that came through loud and clear, he was very proud of his family and very much loved his family. So he was a terrific guy, and he'll be missed.
He was the father, or one of the fathers of the German unification, and we will never forget that.
President Clinton saying that he will remember his friendship with Mr. Bush as one of his life's greatest gifts, while President Obama called him a patriot and humble servant. Mr. Bush had the distinction of being one of only 3 presidents to receive knighthood from Queen Elizabeth. The royal family expressing their condolences, calling Mr. Bush a great friend and ally of the United Kingdom.
Mike Emanuel with that report. Former President Bush will lie in state in the U.S. Capitol Rotunda starting Monday. And though the president may seem like a faraway figure, over the years, Americans have been able to gain more access to what a president says and does day to day by way of more television news coverage and, of course, through the internet and social media. I spoke with some Texomans who say they feel like they got to know the 41st president and will miss him for many reasons.
He was one of my favorite presidents.
Longtime Wichita Falls residents David and Kathy Gately say they're saddened by President Bush's death.
He had been so tough and gone through so much in his life. I thought he might live several more years.
He pulled the world together.
Stephen Hinshaw and his wife Rosa believe President Bush was one of the greatest presidents for several reasons, one of those being what oftentimes is difficult to do for any president.
I think if he did anything, he could speak to both sides of the aisle. Wichita
County Republican Party Chair Annette Barfield says she remembers voting for President Bush. She says she's glad she did and says the Persian Gulf War is one of the reasons why.
It was kind of a scary time, but I felt proud of what we had done and proud of President Bush for the decisions that he made, and it was a pretty significant period of time.
U.S. Army veteran Breanne Ackerson was too young to vote for the 41st president, but says she learned about the president's contributions in the history books.
I feel like it wasn't all just politics for him.
Not only for the president, but also for his late wife, Barbara.
It's sad that someone with such a golden heart like that couple has finally had to hit their limit.
While President Bush may be gone, he leaves behind a great example.
If anyone sees themselves as wanting to become a candidate or become a president, that should be the standard, that's who they should try to be like and emulate.
Now, with the death of the 41st president, that makes Jimmy Carter, the 39th president, the oldest living commander-in-chief, now aged 94. And of course, we'll continue to bring the latest regarding President Bush's memorial services in the coming days on air and on Texomash's homepage.